Hello, everyone. This is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well. So today I wanted to discuss the LA ICE riots and Black people, particularly ADOS, basically broadcasting that they will not be supporting ICE because the Hispanic community is largely racist against Black people, not only in the United States, but also in their home countries. So I've been looking on the internet, watching social media, looking at forums, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube videos, and I've been watching commentary from Black Americans, ADOS, basically announcing that they do not support the LA riots, protesting against ICE. I think they're also in New York City. And basically the sentiment is that the Hispanic community does not support the Black community. The Hispanic community is trying to replace the Black community. The Hispanic community has a history of racism against the Black community. And so why should we support people who do not support us? And, that all sounds well and good in theory. But I noticed in the commentary that there was a lack of accountability from the Black community as far as why we're in the situation that we're in economically, socially, politically, and culturally. It is not the immigrant community's responsibility to do more for you than you're doing for yourself. It is not the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, whether they're illegal or not, it's not their fault that you refuse to invest in yourselves, or we refuse to invest in ourselves the way that they invest in their communities, in their families, and so on and so forth. Now, maybe I'm wrong about this, but in all the commentary bragging about we're not doing this, you guys need us, you want our help, but you don't do anything for us. First of all, I think that like many things Black Americans do in particular, and I would be considered a Black American ADOS FBA. I think that all those loud protestations and declarations was a way to garner attention and sympathy from the Latin American community. The Latin American community does not treat the Black community the same way that white liberals treat Black people. And I think that grinds Black America's gears. Yes, the Hispanic community can be racist, and they are racist by and large, culturally, against darker skinned people. But everybody is racist then. Whites look out for their own people. Asians look out for their own people. But the Black community is the only community in the world who doesn't think that they have a responsibility and an obligation and a duty to invest in themselves and their families more than other groups of people. I'm not saying that we should, be isolationists and say, F everybody, we're only doing for self. But you have to take care of your home and your family first. And what it sounded like to me, right, all the commentary I was listening to, it sounded to me like a lot of Black people were projecting and blaming the immigrant community for basically taking advantage of a situation that they kind of stumbled into. So they are taking advantage of the fact that the Black community has failed to build a self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and self-reliant socioeconomic structure to the point where we don't have to compete with them for jobs. Why are we still competing with Hispanic immigrants for jobs? Why haven't the likes of Diddy and Oprah and, the Passport Bros and the BBL women, why haven't they pulled their resources to invest in the community so that Ray Ray and Traquan and Shaniqua doesn't have to compete against an immigrant Mexican or Venezuelan for a job at a hotel or a hospital? How come we have not done this? It is not the Hispanic community's fault that Diddy, for example, someone like him, who's one of the richest Black men in the world, that instead of investing in the Black community, helping to build Black schools and housing and education systems and banking and restaurants and stores and whatever, instead of him doing that, he spent millions every year having freak-offs, right? Paying for escorts and sex workers and drugs, right? Instead of him investing in his record label and his artists, he hoarded their resources, he hoarded their money, and did not give the artists that were signed to his label the opportunity to create generational wealth through licensing and publishing, right? Over the past 15, 20 years, how much money do you think Diddy spent having freak-offs with exotic women who were not ADOS, investing money outside of the community? Now, he's one example. We have lots of examples of Black people of all socioeconomic classes not investing in their communities. I'll give you an example. On the screen, you can see an image of the Passport Bros dilemma, right? This is an AI-generated image that was going around when the Passport Bro movement first started. Here you see a well-dressed, in shape, healthy, attractive Black man running away from the fat, Black, loud American woman, right? And more than likely, he's running away to some Latin American country. The same Latin American country who he says these racists are coming from, he's running away from her to go towards the same people who would firebomb his home in Los Angeles, the same people who would get him fired at Amazon at a construction job, the same people who are doing this, the same tribe, the same culture, the same community, the same mentality. He's running away from Black women to invest in that community. How many billions of dollars have the Passport Bros spent in Latin America, investing in Latin America for sex tourism over the past 5 to 10 years? How many billions of dollars? Now, for the fat Black woman in the picture, okay? This is not for all Black men and Black women. How much money would you think she would spend in the Dominican Republic or in Colombia and Mexico for cosmetic surgery so that she can attract a Black man or whoever she wants to be with, right? So on both sides of the spectrum, the men and the women, the Black American men and women, I'm not saying it's only Black American men and women, but by and large, billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars have been extracted from the Black American community and invested in Latin American countries. These same countries who are using your resources to build infrastructure and then export people into or import people into your communities and take your jobs. You're losing on both sides of the coin. You're losing at all ends. Okay? So these conversations about racist Hispanics and this and the third, I get it. A lot of them are racist. And I do believe that Black Americans need to be more strategic about who we support, what we're investing our time and energy and resources into, and so on and so forth. But until we deal with the economics of this, the economics of the Passport Bros and Black women getting BBLs and so on and so forth, and spending thousands of dollars getting cosmetic surgery instead of pulling their resources into communities, into schools, into businesses, into banks, so that you can hire your cousin, you can hire your auntie or your mother or your, whatever for these jobs. Instead of doing that, we're blaming poor immigrants who the white government is taking advantage of, essentially, for cheap labor. That is not their fault. They're just exploiting an opportunity. What I think the Black American community is jealous of, and I'm saying this as an ADOS person who's observed this, I think Black people are jealous of the fact that these immigrants are taking these low-wage jobs, these low-scale, low-education jobs, and they're pooling their resources to buy up your neighborhoods, something you refuse to do because you're too busy in Mexico and Colombia paying for sex or a big ass. That's what's going on. I'm not saying all Black people are doing this. I know lots of educated, intelligent, upwardly mobile Black people who do not participate in the shenanigans. But what I am interested in is in knowing how much money did the Black ADOS community spend in Latin America and the Caribbean, right? Over the past 5 or 10 years, how many billions of dollars were spent via sex tourism and or cosmetic surgery to get away from each other? We're spending money or investing money away from each other. We're investing money in other communities. And then when those communities come here and take over your block, take over your business, take over your organization, they're replacing you with these hires because they're double minorities that can speak 2 languages and they only hire their own, or triple minorities, right? They're immigrants, that's another minority. They're Hispanic and they're women. That's a triple minority, right? So when they take advantage of the opportunities, instead of you getting mad at them, you need to take a look in the mirror and take accountability for how you essentially facilitated this. This is partially your fault. Yes, we've dealt with racism. I know the history of racism and Jim Crow and redlining. I know all of this already. But racism and Jim Crow and redlining is not stopping the Passport Bros and the BBL girlies from going to Latin America and the Caribbean and investing billions of dollars into foreign economies. That's not what's happening. So you can't keep blaming that. You can't keep blaming what was done to you in the past for what you're doing today and tomorrow and what you've done yesterday even. You can't do that. Again, I don't know what percentage of Black women have BBLs or what percentage of Black men are passport bros, but I would guesstimate that at least $15 billion over the past decade has been invested in the Caribbean or has been spent in the Caribbean and in Latin America by ADOS men and women for sex tourism, whatever, and for cosmetic surgery. At least $15 billion. You're building up their economy. You're building up the economy of people who you say are racist, who don't like you, who you don't F with them. And you're only complaining, in my opinion, the Black American community is only complaining because they are not kissing our asses the way that they're used to white people doing. They're used to white liberals and Democrats doing, right? We're not their pet Negro. So Democrats, all they have to do is say, Black people, Black women, we need you to fight for us. You're our only hope. You're our only hope for democracy, whatever the case may be. They're giving you they're flattering you and giving you these false platitudes and giving you this fake power. They're showing you have no power at this point. You have no leverage. The Black American community has no political leverage for several reasons, and we have voted for that. And that brings me to another point. All these Black women in particular, because Black women weren't allowed us about this, all these Black women who are bragging about voting for Kamala Harris, they're also gloating about ICE. Like, we're not going to support ICE. We're not going to support the Hispanic community. Go ICE, go Trump. But you didn't vote for this. You voted for these policies that were essentially going to replace you. If Kamala Harris had won the election, more than likely, there would still be a big-ass hole in the wall between Mexico and the United States, right? In the 4 years that Biden was president, at least 8 to 10 million illegal immigrants were pouring into the country. At least 8 to 10 million. And you still voted for the Democratic Party. So now you want credit for what Trump is doing? If you really believed that these people were racist and they're your enemies and they don't deserve to be here, why would you vote for a presidential candidate whose policies support mass illegal immigration? And this is why I say that many Black people are just disingenuous and we parrot trending topics on social media. We're just repeating what everybody else is saying. What's the next course of action that we're going to take to make sure that, okay, besides the lip service, how are we fortifying our communities to ensure that our children don't have to compete against Consuela or Manuel or Luis for a low-skill job? How are we making sure that we're not being firebombed from our communities? How are we making sure that we're not being shot in the street in Las Vegas by these people? What are we doing on the ground besides talking shit and looking for some sort of approval from these people, looking for, oh, we need you, just like the white people used to doing. And then this is the thing too. The crux of the issue is not Hispanic Black hate or Black anti-Black sentiments. The problem is that Black people by and large don't like themselves. If Black people like themselves, other people's anti-Black hatred would have absolutely no effect on them. It would have no effect on us because we would be self-sustained, insular, we would have our own shit. So we wouldn't need it for anything. You want and need them to like you because you hate yourselves. And when they don't like you or when they show they don't like you, it breaks your heart. Now you're crying and you're online, oh my God, they don't like us, they're racist, we're not going to support them. And be down, that's what's up. I'm okay with that. I understand that mass illegal immigration has a negative impact on employment for Black people, especially for low-skilled workers, construction workers, service industry, hotel hospitality, so on and so forth. So I understand that mass illegal immigration has always had a deleterious effect on Black employment. I'm aware of this. But for me, I'm observing, based on the language, based on the conversations you're having, that the Black community is hurt. They're more upset about the lack of Black and brown coalition than they are about the lack of Black and Black coalition. Look at this disgusting image that's displayed on this screen. That is the Black and brown community. That's what's being conveyed in social media. Again, this is not all Black people. I know lots of Black people who are in healthy, happy relationships. But those Black people are not investing tens of billions of dollars in Latin American countries that do not like them. They're not doing that. The people that I commune with, that I hang out with, that I work with, they invest in each other and their own children and their own communities. I have an issue with the hypocrisy in this situation. This is blatant hypocrisy and even projection. You want these Latino men and women to like you more than you like yourselves. And that's why you're begging, you're making these loud declarations about how much you love ICE and let ICE do its work. So if the Latino community doesn't kiss the Black community ass, then F all of them, right? You're not asking for opportunities and jobs and resources. You're asking for flattery, for validation, because you're giving them your money. You're giving them your money when you engage in sex tourism and when you do these BBLs. When you go to get cosmetic surgery to attract men who don't want to fuck with you anyway. Pardon my French. So what is this really about? And no, I don't give a damn about passport bros like that. Meaning, I don't sweat passport bros. I think that they should do whatever it is they need to do to feel better about themselves. And one of the reasons why I feel this way is because we are on the brink of World War III, courtesy of Israel and Iran. And I'm watching these news stories, I'm on social media, and I'm seeing Aryan faces, I'm seeing European faces, I'm seeing Jewish faces, I'm hearing Jewish voices, Chinese voices. I don't hear any Black male voices in this conversation. This world's about to fall the fuck apart if cooler heads do not prevail and stop this demon Netanyahu from doing what it is he wants to do. Right? We're about to go into World War III. And instead of Black men who have political power, I'm not talking about social media men, I'm talking about Black politicians, heads of state, UN, whatever. Where are the Black male voices from Africa, from the Caribbean, from the United States that are for or against this conflict or that have any sort of opinion about what's going on? Where are they? Oh, you're having freak-offs. That's what you're doing. You're in Latin America. You think that your BBC, your big Black whatever, and your passport, right, is going to save you from the scourge of your own ineptitude, of your own powerlessness. Netanyahu is itching to start World War III. And we have no way of protecting ourselves from whatever wrath that will come upon us because we got enemies on all sides now. We got the white supremacists looking down at us. We got the Latino supremacists who are white supremacists looking at us. We got stuff. It's like we are surrounded by enemies and all you nigrums can think about is your penis. And all you nigresses can think about is your big booty. How many men you can have sex with, how many women you can have sex with. That's all you're thinking about. Again, that's not all Black people because I've seen some Black people talk about this conflict, but where are your heads of state? Where's your leadership? Do you have a voice or say or any leverage in this conversation? Any Black nation in this conversation about Iran and Israel? No Black diplomats? No heads of state? Nothing? Are you guys persona non grata on the local, national, and international stage? And this is why I don't care about the passport bros, because you're powerless. You have absolutely nothing or no way to protect the Black collective. No way to do it. Maybe you can take care of your family, your girlfriend, your kids, whatever, but the collective at large. Who's going to make sure that we're okay, that we're straight? The Black community in this country. I'm sure Mexicans got their little ambassadors. I'm sure, Guatemalans, Venezuela, they have their peoples set up. They have their situation set up whereby if anything happens, they got security on deck, they got food supply, food distribution, they have a lot more resources to support them in the event of some sort of nuclear attack or some sort of war or invasion. We're ours. If you don't own your communities, you're going to be gentrified every 20 years, whether it's by whites, whether it's by Asians or Hispanics. You're going to be gentrified if you don't own your communities from top to bottom. Politically, socially, economically, academically, financially. If you don't own any aspect of your community, of all of them, you're going to be gentrified every 20 years. They're going to firebomb you and move you out of your own communities. And you have no way of stopping them. So instead of focusing on what we're supposed to focus on, which is our sovereignty, our self-sufficiency, we're yelling and screaming about how other people don't give a fuck about us when we don't even care about ourselves. That's my problem here. Where's our accountability? You want the Latinos to take accountability for their racism, but we, as the Black collective, don't even take accountability for our own self-hatred. We don't take accountability for our own self-hatred. That's why when I'm hearing Black people brag about how much they love ICE and they love Trump, but they didn't vote for him, they voted for Harris. That is giving cognitive dissonance and confusion and ignorance and stupidity in some cases. And it's irritating to listen to because it's just lip service. As soon as the Latinos apologize, oh my God, we love you Blacks. We love you guys, Black and Brown Coalition, yeah, BIPOC, whatever. As soon as they capitulate and apologize for being racist, you will melt in their MFing hands. Why? Because you like the way they look, Black men and women. You want your kids to look like them. You want to look like them yourselves. You have this virulent self-hatred that other races, groups, and tribes or whatever, they see it and they capitalize on it. So again, don't be mad at the Latinos for defending their rights. Be mad at yourselves for being in a position where they can fuck with you in the first place. You don't see Asians talking about it. You don't see Arabs talking about the situation. It's mainly poor, Black, disenfranchised people who are supposed to be the battering ram for other people's causes instead of our own. So yes, be proud to be Black, that's what's up, but it's not just lip service. It's not just lip service. Instead of investing money in Latin America and the Caribbean for sex work, how about you invest those billions of dollars that you guys have, can pull together for your own communities, for your own children. And if you say, well, Black people aren't worth that, Black American women aren't worth the investment, so how about you build something for the prostitutes that you're having sex with? Build something up here for them to come back to so that you don't feel threatened by another man taking your woman. Build a community of passport bros in the United States. Do something besides complain about the very thing that you're financing. Complain about the very culture and the very women and the men that you're financing and supporting. Do that. So just to recap, I am ADOS or FBI. I would consider that, right? My family's been here for many, 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 many generations. We don't have any ties to the Caribbean or Africa, not that I know of. So I'm not speaking from a position of like being an immigrant or anti-Black. That's not it. But I love my people so much, and I'm so much of a nationalist. I'm willing to call out the bullshit when I see it because we need to have these conversations in order to fix the problems that we have. It is not up to the Hispanics to save us or the whites to save us from ourselves. We have to get in the business of being in business with each other. By and large, Black men in America have more money than Black women, especially in entertainment, right? You have these basketball players who are making 9-figure contracts, hundreds of millions of dollars. The WNBA, they make on average $100,000 a year, less than that. You have men in the NBA making 9-figure contracts. Why aren't they building communities or building an economic infrastructure for the Black community? Because they don't give a damn at all. They don't. Now, some of them have invested in businesses and franchises. I'm not saying that nobody does this, but it's not enough. We're not doing enough. We're not doing as much as we should and or as much as we could. We're not doing enough. We're doing some things, but we're not doing enough. That's not our main objective as a community. Our main objective is assimilation, is validation from other races, is sexual access to other races, is, trying to basically pasteurize and homogenize our Blackness while claiming to be pro-Black. It's like we're trying to gatekeep the idea of Blackness or the idea of Black culture more than we're actually gatekeeping our physical communities, our own economies, our education systems. We don't have none of that on the ground. All we have are big mouths, big booties, and big penises. That's all we got. Speaking figuratively. But that's, I'm exaggerating, but that's essentially what it boils down to. What are our priorities? If you're telling me that the unemployment rate among Black men, right, formerly incarcerated Black men, 12, 13, 14, 15%, Black women are also economically insecure because we don't own any businesses, and you're telling me that this community, who has all this disposable income to pay for BBLs and sex work, we have billions of dollars to do that, but we don't even have any money to invest in ourselves? That's where your priorities are. That's where your priorities are. Flexing, having sex, right? Being loud and acting like you're pro-Black, but you're actually not. Other races don't have to do that. They don't have to say, I'm Black and I'm proud. They actually demonstrate it because they invest in their children. They invest in their families. They get married. They're not like Corey Holcomb making excuses for being a deadbeat dad and then projecting his hatred of himself onto all Black women. They're not doing that. Now, I'm not saying that there are no deadbeat dads in the Asian community, and I'm not saying that, but Black people, by and large, Black men in general, are averse to marriage and commitment, not even committing to themselves. They don't know how to do that. They can't even commit to the sex workers that they're giving their money to by saying, you know what, I'm going to build a home not even a home. Let's build a community for Consuelas. Let's call it Consuela Village. okay? Let's get 1,000 passport bros to pool their money together, buy up old homes, and start businesses for the Consuelas and their biracial Consuela kids. Do that. Do something. Besides, think about your penis all fucking day. Black women, the same thing. We spend all this money on fake hair and try to look good, but our insides are rotten. We're depressed. We're sick. Autoimmune disorders, mental illness, anger problems, narcissism. All this shit we got going on. But you look good, though. Your booty is big, and you got nice breasts. And people want to have sex with you or fuck you. So that means you have value. Plantation policy on both sides. Hypersexualization and only focusing on, again, getting external validation from people who you say don't like you. Do you like yourself enough to invest in yourselves? Or are you going to keep kicking the can and blaming other people for not embracing you the same way you don't embrace yourselves? Who's going to do that? That makes no sense. I wouldn't even care if the Hispanic community didn't support me because I'm supporting myself. But we can't do that because we need to compete with these people for jobs. And why do we need to compete for these jobs? Because we don't invest in ourselves. We don't have our own jobs. We can't get a job. We can't hire our sons or our daughters to work for us. Again, this is not all Black people. It's not, but it's not enough. We need to do more and we need to do better, and we can do more and better. But it's closing. The window is closing because the dollar is about to crash. The US dollar is about to tank. And you guys don't see you asking for reparations as this country's collapsing. I want a cash payment. The dollar is about to crash. And I predicted this years ago. I said Black people will only get reparations once the dollar's worth nothing. I want land and I want gold. That's what I want. I don't want cash money. Land and gold, if we get that. And to be honest, most Black people, millennials and up, Gen Z, don't deserve reparations. We don't deserve it because we don't love ourselves. And we'll just as quickly spend our money with these people or trying to impress the people who we say don't like us before we invest in our grandchildren that aren't even here yet. Imagine the government says we're going to give $1 trillion to the Black community, ADOS community. What's the first thing y'all going to do? Y'all going to get your booties done. Not all Black people, but a significant percentage. We saw what happened when the PPP loans were distributed and what we spent our money on. Let's keep it 100. And I knew that was going to happen. So did Dave Chappelle over 15 years ago. So yeah, if the ADOS community were to receive $1 trillion tomorrow, how will we invest that money? In Latin America? For bigger booties and for sex workers? That's what we would do? Because we're ignorant and sick in the mind? You don't deserve nothing. You don't. Sorry. You don't. That's my opinion about it. Don't just say, oh, we deserve because our ancestors. Your ancestors would not want you to spend their slave money on people who you say hate you, on the descendants of individuals who tormented them. They don't want you doing that. So you're not ready for that yet. Until we can have a more serious conversation about how to pool our resources in a way that's sustainable and productive for the community, until we have those conversations, I don't take nothing we're saying seriously. It's all a bunch of BS. I don't want to hear it. I don't. And I'm trying to turn it off and tune it out, but it's everywhere on social media. Oh, Black people not supporting the LA riots, da-da-da-da-da. Fool, fine, be down. I'm like, this sounds good, but where's the accountability here? How do we contribute to this problem? Why do we need these people to like us? Oh, because we're dependent on them for jobs. We're not self-sustaining. So we need to ask Billy Bob to work at his factory or his car shop or his restaurant. We got to do that. And the Hispanics coming and working in for cheap. They're working cheaper because they're going to send that money back home. You can't compete against that. You have to have your own stuff. The only people who do not want to have their own communities and their own schools and their own stuff are people who do not like themselves because nobody else lives like that. Iran has been under sanctions for decades. And Iran didn't say, you know what, government is sanctioning me. Let me sell drugs to my own people. Let me sell heroin because I can't make no money. They nationalized their resources, right? And our resource would be our culture. We should have nationalized our culture, right? To profit the people in the community. We didn't do that. We have a bunch of diddies walking around exploiting these people. They nationalized their resources and now they basically invested in their own infrastructure. They invested in their military. So now Israel is trying to start trouble, but they can defend themselves. You Black people can't defend yourselves against nobody. You can't defend yourself economically, politically, socially, physically, nothing. because your men are too busy focusing on the things, right? You don't even have any power or leverage to determine the fate of this world. You got Aryan men and white men and other non-black men basically determining your fate as a man. But I'm supposed to be jealous about that? First of all, I don't look like that woman in the picture. I'm 126 pounds. That's number one. Number two, most of the passport bros don't look like that. That's why they have to leave in the first place. That's number two. Number three, most black women don't look like that. And if they did, they wouldn't be running, because then they would be thinner. They're not running after nobody, right? They're not doing that. But this image, to me, was disturbing because it really showed that there was this schism, psychological schism, but also like this social stratification where black men think that they're on a higher level socially than black women. How the F are you on a higher level than black women when you have to scramble to a third world country for cheap sex because you can't afford to get a wife in this country because you don't have no economic power? How are you on a higher level if you have no money? What are you talking about? The delusion is why I'm upset. Then black women, again, we got to work on our image too. We have allowed the ratchets to be our representatives. And then we wonder why people see us as ratchet prostitutes who aren't worth the money that we're asking for or aren't worth marriage. So you think that getting a bigger butt or bigger breasts is going to make you more desirable because you don't want to do the work of being a better person or being more pleasant in general. So that happens. So now we have two people who are at odds with each other. One man running from the woman's chasing and the man's running away. They're not facing each other. They're not having a conversation. They're not planning or building together. Just escapism. And there are some passport sisters too. There are black women who go to different countries to deal with exotic men. There is that too. But again, we got a bunch of people in our communities who are running away from their problems instead of fixing them. So do not expect the world at large, as it becomes more hostile. In the age of Aquarius, people gotta find their family, their tribe. If you haven't noticed, the world is becoming more tribal. Every continent, every state, every nation is becoming more tribal. Where's your tribe, black people? So everybody hates you, and you hate yourselves too. How's that gonna work out? But you wanna get mad because somebody else don't like you. The Hispanics don't like me. They don't respect us. You don't respect yourselves. Again, I'm not speaking individually, I'm speaking collectively. There are some black folks who have a lot of self-respect, but by and large, we don't. We don't. We have sold our culture to the highest bidder. We've sold ourselves out. And then when we have black people in power, like Diddy, we exploited artists and other people in need. And we destroyed the industry. We destroyed the music industry with the pay-for-play, sexual exploitation, rape, and abuse. We did that. We did that. So now what? I'm done. Thank you guys for listening. I look forward to your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.